If you're bowling in league or tournament, do you adjust off that shot? Do you? How many times have you been bowling a league or tournament? You're feeling good, you're throwing great shots, you're striking, you shoot a big game, game one, maybe game two, and all of a sudden, you get lost. What happened? This video is going to be about staying ahead of the transition. What's up, guys? Brunsnick's back, and I hope you guys enjoy this educational video about staying ahead of the transition. Before we get to all that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, let's talk a little bit about staying ahead of the transition. Trip 4-pin. Innocent enough, right? Good break, right? If you're bowling in league or tournament, do you adjust off that shot? Do you? Honestly, would you adjust off that shot? Because the best players in the world absolutely will. That's the difference between the elite and the recreational bowlers out there. Even some of the competitive bowlers is anticipating the transition and making the moves before it gets too bad. Because what's going to happen after another frame of everybody bowling on that lane, you coming back to it, it's going to hook more. So you have to anticipate that and make the move adjustment off that, or else all that other bad stuff is going to happen. It's inevitable. So in this video, I hope to talk about 3 key points and what you can do to make better choices out in the lanes with your equipment, your lane play strategy, and your mental focus. So we're going to get right into it. And the first key point is watch your ball go through the pins. If you're lined up, you're striking, you're feeling good, pay attention. Not just how your ball hooks on the lane and how it rolls and how it reacts, how is it going through the pins? Is the ball starting to creep up a little bit high? Is it starting to finish over the 8-pin? Is it leaving a 9-pin, or in this case, almost 4-pin, which is close to a split? You got to pay attention to the ball going through the pins. Okay, that's your number one indicator. If you're lined up and striking, going flush, kind of a traditional strike going through the 8-9, then all of a sudden you start leaving a 4-pin, start leaving a solid 9-pin, there is something going on with the lane that you need to be aware of. Now, another thing is be honest with yourself. Was it a good shot? Or maybe you grabbed it, maybe you threw it slower. I don't know, but you need to be real with yourself. You need to be self-checking every shot. Was that a good shot? Did that feel like the last ones? Or did I maybe miss it a little bit? Did I throw it slow? Did I grab it? Is that the reason for the 9-pin? Or are the lanes changing? These are all things that need to go through your head. And also, don't just be watching your stuff going down the lanes and through the pins. Be mindful of other bowlers playing in the same zone. If you got a lot of traffic on the lane, a lot of bowlers, or maybe someone throws it like you, pay attention to what's happening to their reaction. If you're starting to see some change, the ball's hooking a little bit more, maybe hanging on one zone, whatever, see if it's happening for everybody or if it's just you. This could be a matter of you changing something or getting ahead of it without them knowing, or just using that information to help your own benefit. So pay attention to other bowlers out on the lane. And taking it even further, if you're bowling in a tournament where you're changing pairs every game, be mindful of who you're following next, what pair you're going to next. Be aware of what's going on in that pair. Is it starting to hook? Are they leaving a lot of going through the face splits? Are they hanging up and leaving 2-8-10s? Is it tighter? Did someone use a lot of surface? There's so much to be aware of. All the best pros in the world, they are very aware. They obviously have some help sometimes with their ball reps, but this is something that you can just kind of mosey on over, take a little mental account, watch between frames, and you can find out what's going on the pairs ahead. Helps out a whole great deal. So that last shot, trip 4, right? What's the move off of that? Was it a good shot? I felt like it was a great shot. We're using the Hammer 3D Offset Assault. Stronger, more smooth, rounded shape on this ball. There's bowling balls that are definitely flippy. Now, the moves, you can actually say, oh, well, do I need to move a couple boards? Do I need to move a whole zone? Do I need to change balls? Oftentimes, the best bet is just sticking with the same ball, making that first small move, and then going from there. So this gets me into point number 2, which is know what you want to try next. So for this example, I'm gonna make a small 2-in-1 move to the left and see if it's enough. I was standing on Big Dot, I was having a great time, bowling this tournament, league, whatever. I'm gonna make a small adjustment, see if I can get that ball back to the pocket the way I want it. So let's try it. So I'm making a small 2-board left move with my feet. Eyes move in a little bit to the left as well. And now the whole idea is to be chasing a little bit more oil in the middle, avoiding the dry a little bit longer before it hits it. So what happens is the ball gets a little bit more length from going through the oil in the middle. You're moving just a little bit to get off that spot you were on and where all the traffic is, getting ahead of the transition, as we say, finding a little bit more oil. Now the moves are easier on a house shot, so if you're bowling leagues or just local kind of 4-gamer, 5-gamers that are on a house shot, you can probably make these small incremental moves. It always depends what you're bowling on. Now if you're bowling on sports shot stuff where you're seeing a lot more surface, the moves are often a little bit more dramatic. So luckily in this scenario, a small 2-in-1 adjustment was enough for what I needed. Now I'm not just gonna make that small move and be done for the night, because guess what? The lane is always gonna be in constant transition. So I have to be mindful. How much further can I chase in with the ball I'm using now? Or when does it behoove me to use something maybe like a Black Widow Mania or something more flippy that's gonna give me a little bit length and a lot more pop on the back? So that's all something you need to know. You need to know your arsenal. You need to know what comes next. You need to know what you started with and what's going to be the best complement for the next step down. It's not necessarily going to a weaker ball, but something that has more shape. So say we want to change balls. Say we want to try something that gets a little bit more skid flip. Now this is a dual move. We're changing 2 things at once. We're going to move in and we're going to go to a cleaner cover with a little bit more flip. Let's just see what happens. It might be the better look. And using the frames to your advantage. So if you're in the 10th frame, you got a fill ball opportunity, try something different. So was that the proper move? Now that ball got a lot more length, didn't come in high at all, that came in behind the head pin, kicked it out, but that's telling me right there that I might be too ahead of the transition with that ball, where the lanes haven't developed enough friction to the right to warrant moving left and changing balls, okay? So maybe a better move would just be standing in the same spot that I was before I made the 2-board move with the offset assault. Maybe I need to go to Mania on the same zone. Back to Big Dot, 20-board with my feet. Now yes, I do drift a little bit, but we're all talking about starting alignment here. So what happens when I make the 2-board move back right and go back to throwing it like I was? Kind of the same result. So right there, that's telling me I gotta wait to get into that ball. And that's all about coming down to experience. People ask me, well, what ball should I go to? The answer is, I don't know. There's so many variables and there's so much at play. And talking about even more variables, right? One thing that we don't talk about enough and that people are so excited to just change balls, go to the next ball, try the next ball, is tweak your hand position, rotation. If you have the ability to increase your rev rate, your axis rotation, all that can help you with your transition management. So sometimes it's not just about making the ball change, but making the change with your physical game to be able to repeat. Now that's a lot more advanced. You need to be able to practice it to be able to get the most out of that. So the one thing we talked about was making incremental moves. 2-in-1, 3-in-2 left. That means 2 boards left with your feet, 1 with my eyes, 3 boards left with my feet, 2 with my eyes, depending on how much friction you're seeing and how much play is. So what you're gonna do is figure out, in the scheme of things, what's gonna work for you in the given environment, because it could change. It could be a small environment, small change one day, big change another day. So let's throw another shot to see and confirm maybe if that 2-board move was the right move. That first shot looked pretty good. I'm liking this ball going through. The Black Widow told me that it was just a little too clean of a cover to get to that spot just yet. Feeling good. And the last tip, and this is probably the most important, and it comes with confidence, it comes with doing all the right things, but you have to commit. You have to commit to what you're doing. If you're gonna make the move, just do it. If you think you need to make the move, just do it. In a big tournament setting, when you're bowling on tough patterns, great bowlers, sometimes fear takes over. What's there to risk? If you're already struggling, right? If you're already having trouble with the transition, right? What's gonna hurt you if you try something else? Give it a shot for a frame or two. If you need to make that big jump in left, right? Could it be the difference between you making cut and potentially winning the tournament? Or just being like, yeah, I missed the transition got me. Oh, I guess I just missed my cut, I'll go home now. No, I don't wanna hear that. I want you to cash, I want you to take all the prize, I want you to win the tournament. So I hope this all helps. Managing the transition, watching for clues with how your ball is going through the pins, being aware of your environment, what's going on with other players on your lane, on the pairs ahead of you when you go to transition and move pairs in a tournament, and also having the confidence to commit. Make the change, do it, get ahead of it. What's the worst that can happen? You bowl bad. If you stay in the same spot, you're gonna bowl bad either. So many times I hear people reach out, hey, I like to stand on 15, throw it at 10. It's like all the time. It's like what, so you're only gonna bowl good when that shot's there? It's like I'm all for being good at one thing, right? But you need to be able to adjust your feet and move with the oil, because the oil is never constant. It's always changing, coming off the spot, burning up. So you gotta stay ahead of it. The lanes are gonna change. So if you shoot big game the first game and you have trouble the second game with transition, I hope this video helped get you back lined up, making the right choices, smart choices in order to score higher through the whole set. Staying ahead of it. Don't wait until all the bad stuff happens before you move your feet. That's all I can say. Don't wait till something bad happens before you make that move. All right? Please check out the merch. Please subscribe. Hope this video helped you. Talk to you guys on another video.